Let me know if you hear sound also. Hello, my name is Jurgen Hielse. I'm from Moesti and List Center Utrecht. And today we are here with Daniel Friedman, Business Development Manager from IOHK. And we will talk about the Cardano platform in general, their community and their future. And afterwards, I hope to have a better understanding of the platform, but also of Dan himself and the future of the Cardano community. So Dan, would you quickly like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and what made you join the blockchain space.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And it's really exciting to really, you know, it sounds a little bit sad in a way, but to communicate with people in this day and age, you don't get to do too much of that. Everything is virtual. Everything is, it's real people, but it's kind of they still live in your computer. So it's really good to be here. And thanks for having me. So yes, my name is Daniel Friedman. I manage business development at IOHK. And well, let me just give you a little bit of a background on myself. I'm originally from the Ukraine, born and raised in well, what used to be the Soviet Union. I immigrated with my family in my around when I was 12 in my teenage years, and we went to the United States, which is why I sound American. As far as the IT space, I've actually been in the IT space since the 90s. Probably around 1998 is when I began my career. First, of course, I was in web development, like all young up and coming IT people at that time, the cool ones, because back then not too many people really knew the web space. It was more, it was kind of niche, like actually the blockchain space is to the mainstream now. It was about the same thing. The internet at that point was kind of the same, I guess, but field of understanding by the mainstream. So from there I progressed to programming, which I've also always been a developer, and I've actually been programming since I was a young kid. Since actually, I think 8 was the first time I wrote a program in BASIC. This is back in the 80s. And the way I did it was my father was in IT back in the Soviet Union. But he worked in mainframes, and really computer access was really limited in the USSR. So what I would used to do is, we didn't have a computer. I didn't have access to a computer. So what I would used to do is I would actually write the program on a piece of paper, give it to my dad. He would then punch it in at work into one of the PCs, and then bring me a printout of the output to see if my program worked or if something was awry with it. So that's how we used to do it back in the 80s in the old country. Yeah, it's, thinking about that and just thinking about today, it's kind of feels like you've been alive for 300 years. It just makes you feel really old. So as far as blockchain, I mean, before blockchain, I worked in various different fields. I was a developer for 20 years. I worked in C, C++, Java. I worked in Java a lot. Worked with databases like Oracle, AS databases, just a plethora of SQL, non-SQL databases. Right about, I think about 2014 is when I started to really kind of take note of the blockchain space. It was growing. Of course, everybody's all this hype about Bitcoin, oh, Bitcoin, Bitcoin is, magic internet money. It's going to be way to the future. And I must say that, like a lot of people, I kind of chunked it a little bit. I dismissed it as like, oh, okay, that's okay. I've seen this, because I actually remember digital currency being a thing in Netscape, if you remember that. Netscape browser had digital currencies integrated into it for a little while. And so I remember one of my first thoughts when I heard about digital currencies was, oh, you mean that thing that they had in Netscape back in the 90s? Oh, okay. All right. I guess it's still a thing 10 years later.
Yeah, do you know how that
Um,
worked in Netscape?
I'm sorry.
Do you know how that worked in Netscape?
I, I never actually used it. I just remember the feature. I remember that they had a digital currency feature in Netscape that I just remember seeing, and I was at that point. This was when eBay was just coming about. This is back when PayPal was just coming about. And really there were still a lot of scams. Like for example, eBay had this scam where they would have, and they probably still do in a way, but it's a lot more secure now. But this is when eBay was just up and coming back in the late 90s. They would have the scam where they would sell really desirable equipment. So they would have a seller and it would be hijacked accounts, right? So you wouldn't know if it wouldn't actually be able to tell that this is actually a fake account because it would have ratings. Because at one point on eBay, you can just put in reviews without actually assigning to an auction. Somebody who can go on and have their friends give them all these great reviews and just make it look like a legitimate account, but then it would actually be a fake account. And what they would do is they would have these scams where they would sell electronics like hot cameras and things like that, not for half price, right? But for 15-20% less than retail, right? Which still seems, doable. So what they would do is they would actually sell these things on eBay, but the payment would be done through, it wouldn't be, you couldn't just go and meet the guy. You'd have to send it to him through Western Union. And so that was the scam. They would ask you to send the money to Western Union, and then they were going to send you the merchandise, but they never send you the merchandise. And then the account was fake, so you couldn't really trace it. And then Western Union was untraceable. So I was thinking, it's kind of interesting to have digital currency, which can be, I guess, it's more transparent. But yeah, unfortunately, I never actually got to use that feature. And yeah, around 2014, I started to notice again. 2015 is when I really started to take notice. Because one of the things is it just didn't make sense to me back then because a lot of these projects were open source. They were non-proprietary software and open source. And I came from closed source industries where you don't share your source. You don't share your code with anybody because it's your code. And a lot of times it's it's done within the company, and especially I worked in Japanese companies, and Japanese companies are very strict about privacy and non-disclosure as far as IT code goes. And so that was one of the things that was really odd to me. I said, so how do you make money if this is all open source? I was really trying to figure out that concept. And so I started digging into it more and more and more. And yeah, I found out about, Ethereum, of course, Bitcoin. I knew Bitcoin, but I wanted to have a face to it, right? Because Bitcoin didn't have a face. Bitcoin was just this magical Satoshi Nakamoto guy that made it, and nobody knows who he is. And all these other guys around it developing it, but where did it come from? I'm a skeptic. So I started researching others, and I researched Ethereum, and so that's when I came into knowing Vitalik and Charles. And so about a year after that, I was looking for a new opportunity because the old company I was working at, it was a good company, but I just was I didn't feel like I was progressing, how that is. And so a friend of mine actually was connected and was buddies with the co-founder, Jeremy Wood. the co-founder of, well, Cardano. Now it's Cardano and IOHK, but back then it was basically was Charles's partner. And he lived in Osaka, Japan, which is where I used to live. Now I live outside of Osaka, Japan. And so, yeah, I connected with him and came on board for to IOHK, and it was basically my first professional dive into the blockchain industries when I came on board to IOHK early 2016. Um, and yeah, the rest is, as they say, history.
And did you know a lot of about the platform and blockchain before you joined, or did you join before you actually knew what you were going to do?
I crammed. When I really decided to do it professionally, I crammed. I crammed, studied about it. I went through everything there is online about it. I bought books, and because I'm a developer, I really needed to see, because the problem with it was what I came across was either what I call like ultra egghead, where you got the three MIT professors and the award-winning cryptographer from Oxford discussing the intricacies of consensus protocols and this and that, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not stupid, but I'm not a scientist. I'm not a cryptography professor. Okay, I needed to be told in you know the rest of us not professor terms. Tell it to me like a developer. And so on the other side, you would have there was these really simple, picture graph videos where, this is Bob. Bob wants to send money to Mary. Bob has no bank account. How does Bob send money to Mary while keeping transparency? And it's like, okay. I mean, I get the basic concept. So don't explain to me like a 5-year-old. Explain to me like a 4-year-old that just is not in this industry, but is in the IT industry. And so it took a while because now you have a lot more material out there. But 5 years ago, there was only there was a big contrast. It was either really, really scientific researchers talking about these concepts in TED Talks, or it was this animated thing for explaining it to you like you're a 5-year-old. And
Yeah.
so I searched and I actually found several books online, and I read through them. One was right, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a really good book. I have it saved somewhere. I can actually share it with you later on for everybody.
Yeah, cool.
Really good book about it. Explained everything, how and why things work, and then it started going into code. And so it gave you basics of the coding inside the ecosystem, how things work. And that's what I needed. I know I don't want to get too crazy into it, but I want to see the code, see how it runs. I want to look under the hood without taking the motor out, So that's what I had to do. I had to really, really just put a lot of effort into really digging into it. I mean, I spent days and days and days in front of my computer, just reading, looking, playing with stuff. And by the time I started working at IOHK, I actually had an understanding of what it did and how it did it.
And did you look into Bitcoin or mostly into Ethereum, or did you look into a broad spectrum of use cases at that point?
Well, so I started with Bitcoin. I started with Bitcoin and how it functioned and how the blockchain in general worked. How consensus worked, how distributed consensus worked, how mining worked. What does mining do? Actually, mining was very reminiscent to, and I mean, of course, it's not exactly it. To me, the first thing that popped into my mind was back in the 90s, and maybe they still do it today. SETI used to have this program called SETI at Home. And so what you would do is you would load up SETI at Home, and it would use your computer's processor to run data, to analyze data from all the different, signals that they would get from outer space. And so they would utilize this, distributed network to take, they would take pieces. They wouldn't give you the whole thing. They would give a little piece here, a little piece there, a little piece there, and they would just distribute it across this computer network spectrum, and they would analyze the data. So you would basically work for them, but you don't really know exactly which data you're analyzing, but you are analyzing data for SETI, which was cool, to me at least. And so it kind of reminded me of that. So it just started making more and more sense. After that, of course, I wanted to understand smart contracts. Of course, I get what they are. I just wanted to see, again, look under the hood, exactly, okay, so what are we talking about here? How do I utilize it in the real world? Because for me, it always comes down, like I said, I'm a skeptic, and I need to have a real world understanding. I need to look at this from a intelligent but uh, not well versed side of the user. The average user. You don't want to spend 10, 15, 20 minutes explaining to him how the thing works and why the thing works and why it's better for them, because that's not gonna mass adoption is not gonna happen like that. Mass adoption is gonna happen if you have, and just like in sales, if you don't have a 90-second long pitch that can get a potential customer or partner interested in what you have, you don't have a product. Doesn't matter what you have under the hood. If you don't have that, you don't have a product. And so for me, it's everything else. I need to be able to explain it in 90 seconds to a point of where they'll get, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. You know what? Why don't you tell me more about this and this and this and this, So yeah, that's basically the route I took. Started with Bitcoin, went into smart contracts, and went into the broader spectrum of the different platforms. Like hard forks, and platform like like Lisk, and all these different platforms, and just why are they different? What is the real world use case of these platforms? And it's very fascinating. A lot of really good work goes into the space. A lot of work to be proud of. Which is that's why seeing meme coins dominate the market irritates me, because I see all this amazing work go into this, and then you have meme coins being sold on Robinhood, and people are dumping money into it, and they go, oh yeah, 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 to the moon. I'm like, come on, guys. There's so much more in this than to the moon. Come on.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
exactly. So why did you join Cardano or IOHK? Maybe can you quickly explain what IOHK is to Cardano and why you joined Cardano?
of course, of course. So, well, I joined IOHK because of Charles. At first, it was, I was just looking for a new opportunity, and I went for an interview. I interviewed with Jeremy, and it seemed like an interesting job. It was, but then I had an interview with Charles, one on one. Took over an hour. Did it over Skype, of course, because he's in Colorado, and it just, I have been around visionaries, and I've been around people who are full of crap. I can tell if somebody's full of crap, and I can tell somebody's a visionary. Visionaries, real ones that are actually proactive and can achieve, not daydreamers, not pie in the sky people. I'm talking about real visionaries that know how to do what they want to do, are really scarce. And after speaking to Charles, I saw that, yeah, you want to work with this guy. This is the guy you want to work with. This is the guy you want to be connected with. And this is the guy you want to be in the same boat with to get to where you want to go. And I got that. And so that's one of the main reasons why I joined specifically IOHK. And what IOHK is, well, that stands for Input Output Hong Kong. So at that point, we were the The company was based out of Hong Kong, the holding company, and but we were, distributed like we are now. We had people working in the U.S., people working in Japan, people working in the UK. And so IOHK is the development house that created Cardano. We made it. So between everybody in the company, half the company's researchers. So one of the major products that comes out of each IOHK is actually blockchain and cryptographic research. We do it because the road needs to be paved before you can drive on it. We do it for the science because, like I said, half the people that I work with are scientists, real scientists. And then the other half are developers. And so yeah, so we created this product. We created a Cardano. We created the ecosystem of the Cardano ecosystem, and the different pillars of Cardano came out of that, and the different entities, like the Cardano Foundation, which are actually independent, obviously, from us, but they were all born in the same egg, and they just kind of sprouted and became their own things that are supporting the ecosystem. So yeah, we make blockchains, but our flagship product is Cardano, and it's a pride and joy. Cardano is a pride and joy. Although we have many other products that we developed. One of them is called Atala, which is an enterprise suite for digital identities and various other things like track and trace, authentication. It's something that we're actually also very proud of. We have actually just signed a deal with the Ethiopian government that is going to be using Atala to onboard 5 million students for digital identities. So this is actually, I believe, the biggest blockchain deployment in history, mainstream blockchain deployment in history.
Yeah, major.
Yeah, and so that's actually the differentiation needs to be made, because a lot of people, I say, even with my name, I wrote Cardano because not a lot of people realize that Cardano itself is not a company. Cardano is an ecosystem. Cardano is the name of the blockchain. Cardano is an ecosystem. There's a Cardano Foundation, but Cardano itself is not a company. Cardano, it's the company that brought you Cardano's input output. Now is input output global.
And Cardano, if you talk about the digital identity of Atala, is that part of the Cardano ecosystem?
So the Atala suite is actually theoretically could be blockchain agnostic, although of course we are Cardano maximalists. So we run it on Cardano. The technology comes from the same people. So, from the people that brought you Cardano comes Atala. That's how we how we bring it to. So yeah, it's the same people, it's the same quality of work went into this as into Cardano. The same research, the same people that brought you Cardano brought you Atala as well. It's a very, very powerful product. I'm really, really proud of it.
And if we're talking about Cardano, the ecosystem, what does it consist of?
Well, how deep do you want to go? It's
I'd like
I'll
to
tell you, it's
I'd like to understand the difference between, for example, Ethereum or a Polkadot or Lisk, and to get a good overview about yeah, that made basically.
so the ecosystem is actually really robust, and it's beautiful to see this ecosystem come about, because I was there when it just wasn't there. I was one of the people that initiated this ecosystem, and it just amazes me to see what it's grown into. I mean, the ecosystem consists from everything from researchers to developers to adopters to entrepreneurs, and to people that wear the multiple hats. And in fact, a lot of people in the space wear multiple hats. There are people that utilize it and do development for the ecosystem, create different applications, different use cases for Cardano. The developer community is really good, really robust. We also have smart contracts testnet coming out very soon, and Alonzo is going to be the smart contract mainnet hard fork, which will be out in the next few months, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be beautiful. And so we have a very robust developer community. We have a community where people from all walks of life, all walks of developer life can join. We have things like, for example, Plutus, which is our answer to Solidity. It's basically you can do the same and more than you can do in Solidity without breaking stuff. Because Plutus is written. It's written. It's basically an offshoot of Haskell, because Cardano is written on Haskell and Rust mostly. And so Plutus is the smart contract language of Cardano. And so there's Plutus Playground right now, actually, for everybody who is a developer that's watching this. You can check it out online right now. There's also other utilities like Marlowe. So Marlowe is a modeling suite for smart contracts, and Marlowe and Willow are basically ways for people who are not necessarily programmers or coders or developers to be able to utilize smart contracts. In fact, some of the modules are actually drag and drop and plug and play, and so it gives the opportunity to adopt smart contracts and this layer 3 technology to people that haven't really had that opportunity before without having to hire a team. We have a wonderful community of stake pool operators and stake pools. In fact, Cardano is now the most decentralized blockchain out there right now. We have a very large amount of stake pools. And each one of those can be counted as a node, obviously. We're 100% decentralized, so no nodes are being run by us. But it's 100% run by the community.
Yeah. And
all the staking.
sorry. So you have a large different ecosystem of different people joining the ecosystem. I try to summarize a little bit. Plutus is the smart contracting language, and for the developers specifically, what is better than Solidity, or it's more broad. And Marlowe is more for the non-devs, that they can also utilize smart contracts but are not developers. But
Exactly.
Is it one chain, or is Cardano separate chains? Is the blockchain?
It's all in Cardano. It's all in the same pool. It's all in the Cardano pool. You got is the same place for all these different things. Plutus is in the same place. Marlowe is in the same place. It's not different chains. It's the same place. Which is why it's very exciting. Which is why it brings so much versatility to the community. That I believe that once Alonzo is out, it's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
I really hope that everybody has a chance to check it out and basically try it for yourself.
Yeah. We get one question about smart contracts. Maybe we can use that directly. Danny Banani asks, now we're getting into smart contracts. I'll just drop my question now. There is a voting mechanism for new features in the Cardano system. Say one would want to implement a voting system, but for the share of rewards each staker receives in a pool, or the share of the fee third parties involved in the pool receive. I don't get the question yet. Do you get it?
Yeah, I think so, but unfortunately, I can't really go too deep into that now. To get that information, to get any sort of information, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can put you in touch with the right people to get the information out, more specific developer and smart contract programmer information. I can definitely put you in touch with people on our team that can help you out. We're very passionate about being able to guide the community and guide the developer community in the right place, and to give the opportunity to do what you want to do.
Perfect. He's saying he will. So, so
Excellent.
and you also said something about staking pools, stake cooperators. So you have the Cardano pool. It's one big pool, and it's there's a consensus algorithm that makes sure that everything is verified. What kind of consensus algorithm does it use?
So the algorithm is called Ouroboros. Ouroboros is the algorithm the consensus algorithm that runs Cardano. There's been many iterations of it, and our team is the one that designed the algorithm pretty much from ground up. Our chief scientist, Agalos Kaiasis, who's located in Edinburgh. He spearheaded the effort to bring this algorithm to the world. Like I said, there's different iterations of it. There's Ouroboros Genesis. There's Ouroboros BFT. We also have different versions of it that are basically turnkey. In fact, I believe that the Polkadot consensus algorithm borrows a lot of what we have, and they're open about that. They say that it's been inspired by us, and we really appreciate that. Yeah, and so it's a very robust family of different iterations of this protocol. Agalos actually has a lot of really good videos about how the consensus algorithm works, so it can be found on YouTube. In fact, I believe the IOHK YouTube channel has several really good Agalos videos. So anybody who really wants to dig into the algorithm, into Ouroboros, I suggest that you check out the IOHK YouTube channel and look for Agalos. He's our he's basically you know he's the brains behind all this awesomeness that you get with Cardano.
Cool. And so I understand that part of that consensus algorithm is that people can create staking pools, and people are actually doing that a lot.
Yes, yes. So the staking pools, I mean, I don't want to lie to you, but God, I mean, it's in the thousands now, I think. This the different staking pools. I mean, I could try and check it out, but anyway, there's a lot of staking pools. And basically, what happens is anybody can start up their own stake pool. There's a registration process, very simple one that they go through on the IOHK website. They bring up the pool. There are a lot of different tutorials out there on how to start your own staking pool. It's like I said, it's very minimal on requirements. It's very minimal on processors. In fact, I'm thinking of starting up my own staking pool just for the hell of it. And also, what you really get with the staking pools is, people stake their Cardano on it. In fact, I believe we have. I could be lying, but I do believe that we have the most coins staked out of any other blockchain or blockchain ecosystem out there. I think it's over 80% now. 80% of all Cardano is staked right now. And so what you get with these staking pools, of course, you get staking rewards, and you put your coin, you delegate your coins to the staking pool. You get you add to the decentralization of the ecosystem. You add to the bandwidth of the ecosystem, and of course, you make about 5%, I believe, on an annual basis return for staking your coins, basically for just doing nothing. It still stays in your wallet because it's a delegated proof of stake. So you don't put your coins anywhere if you're using IOHK ecosystem or Cardano ecosystem pools. And on the other side, what you get with the staking operators is the SPOs are huge contributors to the ecosystem. If you go on any of our social media platforms, if you go on their Facebook page, if you go on Reddit, if you go on a Discord, you will find that anytime you have a serious question about pretty much anything in the ecosystem, especially staking, you will have um, several people come to you with a plethora of information. I mean, it's really great to see that, because it's basically people, community helping itself. And I really appreciate it when I see that, because I myself, of course, I'm not active as in the group talking to people. I should talk to people more, but I'm always checking, I'm always there. I'm always reading about what people are talking about because I want to know. And I really appreciate what our staking pool operators do and then the information that they provide to other Cardano people and people just looking to understand, new people in the ecosystem that are looking to understand how staking works, how how wallets work, how Daedalus works, how Yoroi works. Questions. They answer questions about development, questions about smart contracts. I mean, anything. These guys are specialists,
Yeah.
and they do put in the time. They do put in the time and the effort and the passion into it. So that's highly appreciated.
Yeah, yeah. What you said about Charles and what I also see with you is that you guys are passionate about what you're doing, and that's yeah. How do you say it? It transfers. Other people feel that. So maybe one more question about smart contracts. We get another one. So I know we also got a question about is it already possible to run smart contracts? I think you answered it already that it's coming with a mainnet hard fork. But we got a question from Blockchain Lab Drenthe. At the moment, crypto has become so popular that transaction fees have gone up considerably in Ethereum, BTC, etc. What's the status of transaction fees for Cardano?
I actually spoke about this with basically one of the guys who is still working on it. So right now, the execution cost model for running smart contracts is still being discussed. We're still, working out the intricacies of that because it's not, it's not a simple question. It's not a simple solution, as you can see with Ethereum. It's, if you don't really work it out on many levels, it's going to become an issue when you actually put it into production and when you actually get any kind of serious bandwidth, with these gas fees going through the roof. It's just it's really unfortunate because the technology is there, but the usability is not there because you are asking so much for these transactions that people are just not going to bother with it. The cost will be a function of time needed to execute a smart contract or script, the size of the transaction as in bytes, and the protocol parameters. Okay, so that's kind of the high level description of how we are going to be calculating these. There's more information on that. Again, I encourage you to reach out to me over email. You can do it over Facebook, over Twitter, and I will provide any and all information I have and particulars on this, and keep you updated as more information comes out. Also, just wanted to add to what you said about smart contracts. So there's it's a two-part item. We have a test net, so a smart contract test net coming out very soon. Not in the next few months, as in the next few weeks, I believe. And after that, we're going to be able to use smart contracts on the main net when Alonzo hard fork comes out. So as far as Plutus, you can actually write in Plutus right now. You can write, do development in the Plutus playground. Smart contracts, testnet, few weeks. Mainnet, couple of months. And after that, it's it's the sky.
Perfect. And
Is the limit.
a little bit another question, like, will network congestion be an issue for Cardano, or can you say that you solved it?
Well, of course, network congestion is a it's an evolving animal, as you know. The more the more robust the blockchain becomes, the more robust your different uh, issues become. We have really put a lot of effort into eliminating these issues. I don't believe this being an issue at all. In fact, you can see that with all the volume that we have right now, just with ADA and other native assets that are on Cardano being exchanged. I mean, we have billions and billions of dollars every day going through. The transactions are executed within minutes. Verification and confirmations happen within minutes. So we're building this, and we have built Cardano, not just to be, whatever it is now, 55, $60 billion ecosystem. We built it to change billions of people's lives. I mean, one of the main missions of Cardano is banking the unbanked. There's over 1 billion unbanked in the world, and a lot of them happen to live in Africa, which is why we're very concentrated on Africa and doing various efforts in innovation in Africa. And so the Cardano is designed. It's not designed to handle billions of dollars or billions. It's designed to handle trillions. So I really don't see it being an issue in the near future by any means.
Yeah. Thanks. So maybe that's a good moment to switch a little bit more to the use case side, and for example, the Africa project, as some people call it online. Um, so I think that's a very interesting approach of Cardano of focusing on a specific continent, which has the opportunity to actually rebuild maybe like the digital infrastructure in a way that we cannot do where we already have those foundations.
Yeah. Well, one of the great, very very gratifying aspects of working in a place like Africa is you can really see this technology uh, increase this people's livelihoods. In a lot of places in Africa, the infrastructure is outdated, unfortunately, but it is outdated. The data systems are outdated. The costs are too high to upgrade these systems. And what this technology does is it gives the ability to a lot of these countries to what we call leapfrog. So to leapfrog into having a current state-of-the-art system, like, for example, utilizing Atala and utilizing digital identities without having to upgrade their infrastructure. So one of the reasons why this is possible is because of the widespread of mobile devices right now, and the um, mobile device penetration in these countries. It's actually very high. Reasons why is because the standard legacy infrastructure is outdated, and people are actually forced to have cell phones and to have smartphones to be able to, well, live in in the 21st century. Especially in the remote areas, and whatnot. And so, what this project does is utilizes digital identities, Atala digital identity solution. In fact, if you're interested in Atala, you can go to the Atala website and you can actually test drive the Prism wallet, the Prism digital identity wallet. And it'll give you a really, really good idea of how it works and what it does, and why it's so cool. And so, what it will do is it will give the students in Ethiopia, so these millions of students in Ethiopia, a digital credential when they graduate. And this digital credential can be shared within an ecosystem, that springs from Atala, that has in it various entities like the end user, for example, the student, the government, who validates these IDs, these credentials, to entities like actual commercial companies and HR places and whatnot that will use the system to verify the credential. The other really cool aspect of it is with Atala, there is no information leakage, okay, per se. Because what you have with legacy systems is, like, for example, right, a government agency, right, they request I don't know, some document from you, right? Some document with some personal information. So you send it to them, you send it to them through fax or fax. I live in Japan, so faxes are actually still a thing out here. I keep forgetting that the rest of the world moved on, but PDF. Oh, it is. We still fax like it's 1999 in Japan.
Exactly your point about
And
this.
yeah. It's anyway. It's a whole different ball of wax. And so there is a potential for information leakage, right? Because they only need to verify the information, but the record still stays with them. I'm talking about the traditional ways of handling this. The record still stays with the requester, and so there is a potential for the record to be leaked, the information to be leaked, because of whatever, hacks, misinformation, mismanagement, people forgetting to turn off their monitor, and people looking over there. I mean, whatever, there's all these different opportunities for this information to be leaked and stolen. With Atala, you keep the credential, you keep your information, you have full control of the information. So you can, if somebody say needs to verify, you send them the credential, you verify the credential, and then you can actually revoke the actual record, meaning that they still have a hash that says this item is verified, this person is real, right? It's stored in the blockchain, so it's an immutable event that will it's enough to satisfy pretty much, because they're not looking to remember your information. They're looking to verify that it is real. So once they have verified, once the checkbox is checked off, after that they don't need the information. The information comes back to you, and you hold on to the information. And that is why this is a very powerful application, because of that, because also of that aspect of the ability to control your own information, to control who sees it, when they see it, and when when it comes back to you.
Yeah, and so this is a very major project within the Cardano ecosystem. Are there other projects that you think are like, yeah, need more attention? What are the most interesting projects that you think of?
Well, official projects, I believe that our two most important ones are obviously Cardano and the Tala. There are other projects going on in the ecosystem. There are other platforms that are being brought up right now. NFTs are becoming a thing in the ecosystem because with multi-asset or native asset multi-currency support that we just came out with a couple of months ago, you can actually mint your own coins on Cardano, no native assets on Cardano. So we're not talking about ERC20. We're not talking about those types of assets. These are native assets that actually live alongside with ADA on the Cardano blockchain. And actually, there's a growing Cardano ecosystem that have been minting NFTs. There's Cardano Kings. There is Space Buds. It's really amazing to see all of these different things pop up, and it's becoming pretty robust. And this is even before we bring Alonzo online. So this is happening without smart contracts, but people are still already so excited about it that there is actually an NFT community already existing on Cardano right now with multi-asset support.
Cool. So if you're talking about native assets on the Cardano blockchain, then what becomes use case for ADA? Is it becoming a different use case, or how should I see the ADA token?
Well, you can see the ADA token as the as the unifying asset for the entire blockchain. Like for example, transaction fees, things like rewards, things like gas fees or whatever we're going to call them. All of those are going to be paid in ADA. So all of that will happen in ADA. The other assets, of course, are they also live in the same space, but they are not, they're not the gatekeeper asset of Cardano. ADA is that and will always remain that. It will remain the big daddy or the big mama, the big person of the Cardano ecosystem.
Cool. So I think we're still within an hour, but maybe we will run out a little bit. I try to move on the conversation to keep the 3 hours into 1 hour. But I have got a couple of questions more. One is more community related. Like, for example, IOTA has a lot of German community members. I think in Poland, but also in Japan. Does Cardano have
Of course.
a specific location with a large community? Can you tell a little bit about it?
Yeah, I mean, our community is actually really, really distributed. We have a fairly large European community. We have, a lot of people actually in Germany. We have developers in the UK. We also have quite a few people in the US that are really excited about Cardano. But again, all over Europe as well, of Asia as well. We have a community in Korea. We have a community in Japan, of course. We have a community in Vietnam. In fact, we have several, Cardano maximalist companies in Japan, like Infinito Blockchain Labs are good friends of ours. So it's very robust and very distributed,
Yeah.
which is something that we're proud of, and we hope that it will, we don't have to, say, okay, well, most of our guys are here. I really hope that keeps growing. I hope that, we can say that we are worldwide. Anywhere you go, you got Cardano people there. And it actually happens. I was 2 years ago, I was in Israel with Charles, and we had a meetup in the middle of the week. And something like 100 people came out. Oh, Cardano, okay, yeah, we're there. Developers, business people. Then we were in Georgia, in the country of Georgia. Again, same thing. Cardano people came out, just interested, wanted to talk to us. That know all about what we're doing. It's very humbling, actually.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. And indeed, it's a global movement, so it's really nice if that's also where your community is. So
Yes, and that's very like I said, it's very humbling to see that because well, because like I said, I've seen this. I saw this ecosystem be born. So when you see this ecosystem that you saw be born around you to become this global, beautiful thing, it's a very humbling experience. It very makes you feel, really makes you feel like you actually done something with your life.
yeah, maybe that's a good bridge to the last question or to my last question. So where do you see yourself within 5 years?
Well, that's not an easy question. I grew up in the Soviet Union, so we were all about the 5-year plan. That's a communist thing. Communists are all about the 5-year plan. Um, the thing about working in an ecosystem like this is it's always evolving. I see myself still being in this ecosystem. In what capacity, I'm not sure. I hope that it's in the same capacity. I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. I enjoy going out there, bringing opportunities to the table, furthering adoption, speaking with people, communicating. That's what I do best. And I really hope to see myself be given the opportunity to keep on doing that. And again, I'm not just, I don't, I'm not just here because, IOHK pays my bills. I am here because I really believe in what we do. And there've been ups, there've been downs. Hasn't all been smooth sailing. Like, well, nothing is really ever smooth sailing. Um, say that 5 years. I've been here for 5 years, over 5 years now. And looking back and looking the past 5 years, I am proud of what I've accomplished, and I'm proud of what we have accomplished. And I hope that the next 5 years will be even better. And I hope that this ecosystem still keeps growing. It still keeps, blooming the way it has been. And if we can just facilitate that, then I see myself doing the same thing 5 years from now, 10 years from now, as long as it takes, because it's a never ending mission, because it's an ecosystem. But we're not, like I said, we're not talking about $60 billion. We're talking about trillions of dollars of transactions going through. And of course, yeah, I'm counting it in dollars when I should be counting it in data or whatever. But the point is, I mean, we still have to kind of assign our traditional quantifiable devices to to things. Um, yeah, and I just see that an ecosystem that can get into that particular level, into the trillions, has a lot of room for a lot of potential for growth for one person. So that's why I don't see myself doing anything else.
That's a beautiful answer. I think for me that wraps it up. Maybe if you have, do you have a last topic or something to discuss or?
Well, not particularly a topic, but I just wanted to say that again. I am not just here because like it's my job. I am very passionate about what I do. I'm very passionate about being able to make just really make a difference, and make a mark in this whole movement, because I believe that we are changing the world. I really do. I believe that this whole ecosystem, the Cardano ecosystem, the blockchain ecosystem, is changing the world. It's a game changer. It's like the internet, but for finances, and beyond finances. It's for everything. It's going to change the way the perception that we have of the world. It's going to, give more democracy, more independence to people where it did not exist before. It will force progress where progress has been stagnant. And I am just really excited to be a part of this. Again, I'm really humbled to be a part of this. And that is why I say that anybody who is looking for collaboration, looking to talk to me, looking for answers, looking for anything, please don't be afraid to reach out to me. Please reach out to me. I'll be more than glad to converse with you. I'd be more than glad to do whatever I can to really help you or work with you to be able to progress this thing that we're doing together. So please, by all means, don't hesitate and reach out to me for anything I can help you with. I'd be more than glad to.
So thank you so much for this really insightful chat we are having. And for me, my understanding of Cardano has been improved, and I also really like that to get to know you a little bit better. And if you have, do you have still a little bit more time? Then we can hang out for a couple of minutes in the coffee corner that other people can join. I'm putting you in.
Sure, not a problem. Do that.
Oh,
You can do that.
so perfect. So if you're watching and you want to have a last question, just join our Discord. I think I'm sure the link will be shared in the YouTube chat, and we will be in the coffee corner for the next couple of minutes. So thank you, and let's check out the coffee corner then.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot for your time.